Today is Monday, February 27th, 2023. And folks, we are under 40 hours from March. Yes, March, the best time of the calendar year. It also starts officially Champ Week for a couple conferences around the United States of America. On today's episode, Bobby Hoops and Big Papa are going to talk about some scores around the league. A couple of upsets that happened around the United States. Also, a little buzzer beater action. We like that. We like buzzer beaters. We'll address the elephant in the room that Mizzou won again. Other than that, we'll break down the Tennessee, South Carolina beating that UT laid on them. Oh, followed up by an additional smackdown of the Cayuts taking it to Auburn and Bruce Pearl again in Rupp Arena. 35 years, Auburn has not beat Kentucky in Rupp Arena. Interesting. Then we're going to end the episode with a couple mailbag questions we got in over the weekend. Remind you guys to send in your submission for Dog of the Week. And then we'll take it from there. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends at Realty Executives Associates. You've heard us talk about Realty Executives, and we cannot stress enough that in 2022 they sold over $3 billion in sales. And folks, you can go look it up in the dictionary. I can't tell you what the definition is for that, but I can tell you this. If you work with Rob Logan or Austin White, they will take care of you and make you feel like the hero when it comes to buying or selling a home in 2023. Call Rob today, 301-910-1136. In Austin at 865-719-2724. Folks, let's ride! What is up, everyone? Big Pop and Bobby Hoops. We are back, baby. What a weekend. Bobby Hoops, more than anyone, deserves to be happy. Man,
we're back, baby. We're back.
He is back. I think I'm all the way in. I'll talk about it through the course of the episode. I'm there. I think I'm there, baby. But yeah, welcome in episode 4. Let's get over and on into some scores.
Hey, it's we're under 40 hours from March, baby.
Yeah, for those keeping score at home. Just us. We're under 40 hours from March. It already feels like it's Champ Week. We've already got a couple conferences around the states that are rocking and rolling. The first things we just want to note are a couple big upsets around the United States of America, which is we saw North Carolina take it to Virginia. We saw 2 buzzer beaters, Arizona State over Arizona. We also saw Florida State taking it to Miami. That was a big one. Who else did we see? Those were 3. We saw Indiana sweep Purdue.
Dude, wow. Basketball is more fun when Indiana's good. This is fantastic.
And I hate to admit it.
They just are.
It's just a bunch of goober bozos up north.
Sure.
But if you're talking from a historical standpoint, they're one of historically the better basketball teams in the country. And when they're good, things are firing on all cylinders. Your Terps, old school hoops, the Terps take it to Northwestern.
You're the turtle, baby.
Which, can we be honest, it feels a little weird to be like, Northwestern, top 25 basketball team. I don't know.
Dude, they might be the best team in the Big Ten right now.
That's so weird.
Not really. Not really. Not really.
No, not them. Other than that, that was kind of the only other scores that really, I think Iowa State lost again, but
yeah,
with Big 12 stuff, you almost can't get so worked up over upsets because they at one point, I think the majority of the teams were ranked in the top 25 and they're all playing each other. So it's kind of
it's hard to, the Big 12 is so deep. It's it's hard to, it's hard to see any big takeaways.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's kind of good. So
Yeah, like they'll all pretty much make the tournament besides
Yeah.
like Oklahoma State and West Virginia because
Yeah.
they just struggled. Let's jump in really quick. Recap from Saturday around the SEC. Scores South Carolina over LSU. Oh, wait. No, that was a while ago. That ain't this past. That was 2 Saturdays ago. Sorry, everyone. At first, I was like, wait a second.
What? No, they played over the weekend. Ole Miss and LSU. Is that what you just said?
No, I said South Carolina.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Oh, I was thinking this is like episode 3. Um, no, from this past Saturday, here's your scores: Ole Miss over LSU, Vandy over Florida. We had Mississippi State. That talk about another upset over Texas A&M. Bama sneaks out squeaker against Arkansas, 3-point game. Had your Vawlz an absolute routing
We needed it,
South
baby. We
Carolina.
needed it. We needed it big time.
Speaking of another routing, the Cats take it to Auburn up in Rupp. And then
they crushed them.
Oh man, I can't wait to dive in. And then unfortunately, we were wrong about one game. Missouri beat Georgia.
Missouri, didn't they? They played like a high school team, right?
High school? I mean, yeah, if we're gonna put them out, it was like JV.
Ugh.
Maybe freshman, but yeah, whatever. Missouri won. So other than that, that's kind of the scores around the league. I didn't have any big takeaways. I mean, I guess the only real big one is that Mississippi State beat A&M. Mississippi State.
I mean, they're like two birds of the same feather for me. I mean, they're just dangerous and scrappy and all the buzzwords you use for a team coming into March.
Yep. Mississippi State took it to A&M 69-62 down in Starkville. Player stood out was Wade Taylor, one of the guards for Mississippi State. He went for 21 points. No, sorry, that's Texas A&M. I apologize. What I was going to say is our boy we've talked about before, Tolu Smith.
Dude.
And had 17 points. Trying to look, 6 rebounds, so like decent rebounding game. But
Tolu's the dude, you know.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
Great
name.
Oh, solid name. But it kind of makes me wonder because I mean, I know we've talked about before. State's one of the teams that like, you know, on the Joe Lenardi combo, they're technically on the bubble talk.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think real quick. I'm trying to look and see. So
it's odd that they're, you know, that they have a losing record in the SEC.
Yeah.
But yet they're good. They're every bit as, you know, they can take it to everybody in this league.
Well, I mean, they beat Arkansas.
Yeah.
Saturdays ago. You know, lost to Kentucky only by 3. Like, I don't know. They've had a lot of close, like 1-2 bucket games where
we got out of Starkville a few weeks ago by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah.
We being Tennessee, of course.
I think so. They've got South Carolina at home on Tuesday night, and then they play Vanderbilt Saturday night at Vandy. I think they can win both, and quite frankly, if they win both in maybe like one conference tournament game, I think they're in.
They're probably in.
I think, I don't know off the top of my head the other teams on the like first 4 in that talk. Mm-hmm. Somebody's gonna mess up in these next 2 games before the regular season ends.
Yeah.
A&M, I think the only thing, they're in. It's not I think like, oh, are they in the NCAA tournament? Like, they're in. I think all that really boils down to is that essentially put Bama, like, they've locked the 1 seed for conference tournament. A&M had to win out in order to, like, possibly be in that. Because A&M and Bama play each other, but that game's like a toss at this point when it comes to seed. I mean, all that really does is now it kind of puts the Cats in play for a 2 seed, hypothetically. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll do another episode where we primarily discuss whether we do it Thursday or another day, just kind of what the season looks like and all that deal. So, but I think let's go ahead and jump in on some segments. First one we want to get to is the fact that Tennessee, I mean, not only like routed South Carolina, that's both times they have played South Carolina have beat them by the first time they beat them by over 40, did they not?
Yeah, it was 2 40-point wins against South Carolina, and
That's
I mean,
that's insane. We're talking about a South Carolina team that just the other night took Alabama to overtime.
yeah, yeah. I don't know where that came from South Carolina. I mean, obviously now we mentioned it last week, but Bama's got a heck of a lot of distractions off the court right now, and obviously they're still getting wins, but couple real close ones for them, and maybe South Carolina just had them at the right time. But yeah, this is what Tennessee should do against South Carolina.
Yeah.
They just don't have the horses to keep up, and it just we this was the palate cleanser that Tennessee needed
Yep.
so badly. I mean, it was it really wasn't. South Carolina made it a tiny bit interesting in the first half, but Tennessee was comfortably at least 10 points ahead from almost the whole game, and then just completely, pulled away in the second half. I mean, the best part of the game, biggest news for the team going forward, having Josiah James back. He led the team in scoring and only played 21 minutes. Hit 4 threes. He looked good. He is so important to what we do, and he has the ability to score when he's feeling it, and he can be inconsistent a little bit shooting, but when he is feeling it, he can score from anywhere on the court pretty much. He's big, he can post up, he can grab rebounds, he plays good defense. Having him healthy going forward is just huge for us. And no Julian Phillips, but a game like we don't need him. We didn't need him against South Carolina. It was a route very easy. We needed it big time.
Yeah, 100%. What's the update on Julian? Is it just kind of like he's not feeling good, so we're not gonna like?
Yeah, I think it's again. I think some of these games, if these were like must wins right now, at least to like getting in the tournament, he'd probably be playing.
Sure.
Based on what I've read and seen from a couple of the local reporters and things, he's still getting over that hip flexor. He probably, I mean, based on last week, they're talking about the A&M game. I mean, he warmed up with the team, and he's, I think he's going to be back soon. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him tomorrow night against Arkansas. That'll be a big one. But even just having James back, those two guys are just mean so much for what we try to do as a team. So,
yeah. I also think, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. That's it.
I was just gonna make the comment. Now I got to like sit down and watch it for a little while, and help me pronounce his name correctly because he deserves. Is it your starting forward starts with an N? The last name.
Olivier Comwa.
Comwa. So the N is silent. Okay.
N is silent. Yep.
Olivier Comwa and Euros both in double figures, 10 points each. Comwa had 8 rebounds. Euros, I mean, you only have 1. But quite frankly, when both of your big men are in double figures, like for at least Tennessee, like that is great. You are usually looking pretty good.
And I guess the only other thing I would add to this game is that, and I think Dane Bradshaw, former Vol, who was on the call for ESPN, I think made a really good point about, and I hope this is true going forward, that if there might be any silver lining to the last 2 weeks of bad basketball without 2 of our best players, Jemai Meshack is kind of figuring things out offensively. He's his couple years here been pretty much a run the court, can maybe get you a layup or a dunk in the fast break, and plays really good defense, but just doesn't bring you much offensively. Well, he was 5 of 7 with 2 3-pointers and another in double figures again. I mean, it's I think that's 3 games in a row Meshack's in double figures for us, and if we can get points from anybody, it's big. So love Meshack, love his effort. So I hope he's feeling a lot more confident. It seems like he is.
You haven't even given props to your favorite guy, Zakai. He had a ball game.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? 13 points, 11 assists. Hey, he was throwing some absolute wet balls deep. I mean,
And that's what he can do. Again, Ziegler's the man. It's that's again, that's what he should do against a team like that. And
sure.
um we're a team that when it's working, there should be a lot of assists. There should, a lot of movement, guys getting open for jump shots, and they're burying them in this game. Shot over almost 60% from the floor and 43% from three. That's when it's working, it works big time.
Yep.
And Ziegler racked up those assists. So
Massive feel good game
yeah,
for
absolutely.
Like needed that for
Yep.
a little palate cleanser. Yeah, shake the dust off. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Jumping in, Cats, Bruce Pearl, Auburn. They just like.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
Blue Bloods just quit showing up to Lexington. You haven't beat Kentucky in Lexington in over 30 years.
Jeez, is that right?
I know. I couldn't believe. I honestly thought it was a joke when
My
they were saying
God.
it.
That's crazy.
But I guess again, when you take into consider context historically, depending on the sport of specifically college basketball in Kentucky and the SEC, we shouldn't be that shocked when you see records of Kentucky.
Sure.
Against Georgia is 95-15 all time. Those things, they always come off oh, you've got to be kidding me. But you have to take in they usually play each other twice a year at minimum. And that's the SEC college basketball in a nutshell. Now, you can imagine the football, which obviously is going to be very different, right? Tennessee's record against Kentucky. It's astronomically different. But all I have to say is I didn't realize that about Auburn, of all teams, who we talked about last episode. They have been trading games with Kentucky since 2017, 2018. It's kind of whoever has home court usually wins. So Cats win 86-54. Quite frankly, it probably should have been a 40-point win. They rolled out the walk-ons and the boys. KD Johnson started licking his chops when he saw the walk-ons coming in, got real spicy. So he got a couple buckets in late. Good for him.
Yeah.
God, that man just loves seeing the walk-ons come in because he
can't. KD Johnson
he's funny.
He is something else, that guy.
So yeah, shout out to your brother for trying to stick with the blue blood all of a sudden the last 2 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
James Logan, Auburn Tiger. Shout out
to you, big dog.
Sorry for the tough one.
Yeah. Sucks to suck. Bruce did make a comment. He had actually said the game before, if we don't rebound well against Kentucky, we may get beat by 40. He goes to the presser, looks at the stats, and was like, well, I was off by 8, so good for me.
Oscar had 17 boards.
17 boards, 20, what do you have?
22 points.
22 points, 17 by himself. Cats out-rebounded Auburn as a team 41-23. What are you going to do?
That's pretty much it right there.
Bench points, again, whatever. CJ, finally, he's back. He actually, technically, I think, still has a broken rib, but is giving it run. So all I have to say is I'm glad that we got to see him. He played, says that he went up for 7 minutes, but.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
A game like that, Kentucky is comfortably ahead the whole time. Does it bother? I know you said last week, this is the time of the year that Cal starts shrinking the lineup and guys are, you look at this, a 30 plus point win, and Toppin's out there for 33, Oscar's out there for 36, Austin Reeves out there for 36, Kasem's out there 37 minutes. Does that, in a game like that is so out of hand, do you want to see more guys get some run out there? Or this is just business as usual for Cal?
For him, it's probably business as usual in his mind.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he also, and I was going to say, I lean towards, I don't love seeing that timestamp on guys, like you said, 33 for Toppin, 37 for Kaysen. I don't want that. I mean, when you're even like 8 to 7 minutes left in the game, where, I mean, at that point, it really was closer to 40-point difference. Um, I don't want it. I don't want dudes to get hurt. You
Mhm.
need a breather. Kaysen has like a history of back spasms, and it's kind of been the talking point since CJ and Wheeler um, have been out for the last couple of games. So they're kind of like Kaysen's back spasms could just like flare up at any moment during a game type
Yep.
situation. So, but I think what stinks is like the guys on the bench that outside of Wheeler and CJ, they don't score.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking three, four of the guys, one of them can, in theory, score, which is a new Thiero. And he had a three ball, which was great. But the other three guys are all big men. And I mean, Lance had a 2 point dunk off of a inbounds play under the
Yeah.
basket. So it's just like if you're going to roll them out, they're not getting put out there to like score and get a bucket. They're out there
Yeah.
to give a breather, play defense, get some rebounds, and then like let the other dude check back in. So it just goes back to I would like need Wheeler bad for him to
Mhm.
like get healthy, and it's fine if he wants to sit out even the next 2 games. Just
Yeah.
be ready for postseason.
Is that sounding like that's everyone's pretty confident that he'll be back come tournament time?
Yeah, I mean, so this actually makes sense. I was reading one of the like beat writers for KSR who primarily covers basketball. He said kind of the inside scoop is that he's not rushing back to come play 8 to 11 minutes a game, which that makes sense. Where you went from you start to now it's obvious it's Kaysen's team. He is the point guard.
Yeah.
Uh, your natural feeling is like, well, I'm not going to like rush back from an injury just to still slightly be a little bit hurt to come play 9 minutes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
Mhm.
I, however, am like, we all know Kaysen though has a history of injuries with his back spasm stuff and whatever else.
Mhm.
And he's just tired. Like he doesn't need to play 37 minutes. It would he
Especially in a game where you won by 30 plus.
Yeah. And I'm like, we need Wheeler back for the sake of you give Wheeler increments of like 2 to 4 minutes where he's just going full tilt, right? Like
Yeah.
I have to take a break, go full tilt for 4 minutes, and then Kaysen comes back in. He's got a break. He can
Yeah.
go full speed for a while. Um, Anywho, I'm talking about things that's like, quite frankly, it's probably going to happen, but you're almost
Sure.
like, until I see it, I'm in this space of like, all right, when are we gonna change? So I will say this though, and you know my hesitancy over since the season started. I just want all of the public to know, let everyone know we up. I am up, baby. Big Papa is in.
Cayuts!
Hats, baby. We in. Big Tone. Hey, that's my MVP of the game. Like I was at the house by myself and screaming. I'm sure my neighbors thought like, oh god, somebody's like hurt over at 3042 Shropshire. I was just like, Big Tone, let the three ball fly. Oh, I, my God. I thought honestly it got to one point where I was like, I had to quit yelling because I started getting a headache from how loud I was yelling. That was the first time this season where I was like, that is Kentucky basketball.
Yeah. And you got to stick it to KD Johnson.
Dang, I hate that for KD. Shucks. It just was like, and I remember I told you this either episode or two ago. I was like, Kentucky's a good team. They've got the talent. They just haven't put it together. Where the talking point was, oh, they're not a good team. It felt that way when they stunk at the beginning of the season.
Sure.
And they were losing games that, they're like, couldn't show up in a big game, Gonzaga, Michigan State, whatever. And you're like,
Yeah.
maybe they do stink. But it was like, well, I should have taken and listened to Cal on the like give him time thing. Here's all right.
It's he's starting. He was starting to become the boy who cried wolf on the give us time thing.
So in my like mini segment on what did Cal say
what did Cal say?
Made Big Papa upset again. I'm going to make this really short and sweet. He used his platform once again after a win to immediately say, kind of like, told you so, local media and BBN. And it's like, dude, we just won by 32 points. Like, come on.
Like it's like he wants y'all to be upset about it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I know. In his whole thing, once again, trying to talk us out of the tournament. It's like, no, we're not. We're not trying to talk. Like, why would we not want you in the tournament? The only people who don't want you in the tournament is any person who hates you personally as a coach and then just doesn't like Kentucky and wants to use that as like to make fun of. And, quite frankly, like they got to do that for the last 3 years. So, like, why would we not want you in? I don't.
Well, you're just not a part of the familia,
I'm not part of the familia.
Cal's familia.
That's true. So it was just like, dude, come on, quit. Like, whatever. It seems like what I've talked about before is he always needs a villain or somebody that he can be mad at to kind of like pound his chest at. And it's turned kind of on us, I think. And whatever. So be it. It's frustrating, but I'm like, if that like gets you moving and grooving, whatever. Yeah. Hey, just win. And you can make us eat crow. I would love to I would rather do that.
Sure.
Anyway, all right, that was my sound off of what made me mad about Coach Callaghan. Something he said. All right. We had some mailbag questions come in from over the weekend. And I think they deserve the time and respect to have those answered. So
I agree.
First one, because the second one's more geared about Tennessee. This is kind of an open college basketball topic. So comes in from big fan guy named Thomas Cox, who he just put in the number 4 as his like signature line.
4.
So shout out to you. Thanks.
Yeah, I think that number's retired at Oak Ridge High School baseball team.
Oh, so he's a big deal. All right. 4 says, do you all think John Shire can get it done at Duke? This feels kind of like a post-Pat Summit situation. Expectations may be too high, yada, yada. But also, is he qualified? Can Duke be at all prominent? I'll go first because I've thought probably more about it than I should. My thing is maybe. But what I think is odd is that, and I feel like this is a Duke Carolina thing where they hire old players, and I don't understand it. Like it just kind of baffles my mind like Roy Williams is kind of a little bit of an exception. Yes, he played at Carolina, but he left, right, and went to Kansas and had a lot of success, won a title, then gets the call, right? Like he showed, I can go somewhere, do it, and then I can come back. But for whatever, and I know that Coach K's been there for, I lost count of how many years he was at Duke. I just don't get why
30 to 40 years at least.
But I just don't get like why it has to be somebody who's already on staff. You're Duke and Carolina. My thought was put it up to a search. You were Duke and Carolina. Like you can go get whoever you want. Now, if you did the search and you honestly think John Shire's the best guy, okay. Now they may have thought that from the beginning because I'm sure Kay like vouched for him, was like, he's the guy. Don't worry about doing a search. Save your time and money. Okay, that's like so be it. I don't know. I think I think maybe because it's Duke. That's probably where I land. Because it's the program. You've got everything that you can need there. He'll get recruits because it's Duke. Well, I mean, he already has them right now. So I don't. That's probably like a bad response because it probably deserves more of a yes or no thing. So yeah, I'll probably land on maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. I guess I'd land more on I guess I don't know if John Shire's, gonna be awesome as, you know, as the maybe the long term, post Coach K answer of what Duke looks like. I guess my thought is sure he can absolutely be a great coach at Duke. I don't know why he couldn't be that. I mean, here it is his first season. Duke's having, you know, by Duke standards, not a great. I mean, they're fifth in the ACC, but they're 21-8. They have a good conference tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't, at least like a 8 or 9 seed
Yeah.
in the tournament. That wouldn't shock me. I mean, Shire's been under Coach K at first as a player, and then he's been an assistant coach for him for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Was the associate head coach for about half that time. To me, I mean, it's the same thing. We've seen it in Knoxville with the, post Pat Summit years and a lot of these other, to me, it was never going to be anyone else but a Duke guy to begin with. I think that there's some stat out there that I think Duke's had like 4 head coaches in the last like 60 years or something like that. They've just had so many, between the Dean Smith and Coach K and, or not Dean Smith, whoever it was before Coach K. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think Shire can be good. I don't think he's going to be Coach K. I mean, and I think that's the thing for Duke fans really have to manage the expectations because, again, I've seen it. We've both seen it locally here of Pat Summit being, arguably the greatest coach in basketball history,
Right.
and all these former players of hers afterwards coming in, and it's just a huge shadow to try to fill, and huge shoes to try to fill. And I guess I'm kind of, Duke's going to be a team that people have loved to hate for a long time. There's a part of me that always I have respect for what the Duke basketball program has been. I just hope they give Shire a fair chance. Because so far it's not been bad. It's below their usual standards, but I don't know why he couldn't be good. I think these former point guards always feel like they always end up being good coaches, and
Yeah.
I think he can do it.
Yeah. I think he at least obviously deserves the chance.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, second question from probably our biggest fan, needless to say, Jeff Mason. He says, "Sup, fellas? Who is Tennessee's must-have healthy player for the tournament, and why is it Triple J?" I'll let you answer, Bobby. Go ahead.
I kind of touched on it in talking about his return this past weekend, but he just when Josiah Jordan James is healthy and feeling it and at his best, he can do everything on our team. Everything. On defense, he can guard your point guard. He can guard power forwards on the other team and everywhere in between. He can score from the 3-point line. He can make his free throws. He is big and he can, get you post points. He can rebound. He's a leader on this team. Is this his senior year? I think it is. But he just has the ability to do everything well on our team. And we don't have anyone else like that who just what do you need from me, coach? We need you to go out there and guard Brandon Miller. Okay, he can do it. We need you to go out there and get us, 15 tonight. We need you to grab a bunch of rebounds. He can do everything. So that's why I would say is he's just very capable of a whole bunch of different things. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife. The only other name I would maybe say, which is the other guy who's not been, is Julian Phillips, who he's the McDonald's All-American freshman. He's, he's had his moments where he looks like he's got, maybe lottery pick potential in the NBA, and then other games where he looks like an 18-year-old who just needs more time. But
Yeah.
I did see, and I forgive me, bad podcasting. I don't have the stat in front of me, but I did see a thing that statistically, Julian Phillips is one of the best in the country at when he's on the court. Our opponents, basically like points per possession, is amongst the lowest in the country. Like the guy is a dog defensively, and he's super long. And and he can fill it up with points too, but like he's Josiah is the answer to that question. But Julian Phillips, for what he brings to the team with his rebounding and defense, he's up there too.
Boom. There you go. You couldn't have said it any better.
Oh, thanks, man.
Hey, let's kind of round it up real quick. Look ahead. Tuesday and Wednesday night, Tuesday's game slate. Here we go. We got Florida and Georgia, a little cocktail party action on the basketball court. Didn't they change the name of that? Sorry if that's like a.
I don't know.
Hope we don't get canceled for saying cocktail or just me. Mississippi State, South Carolina, talked about them earlier. We got Ole Miss, Texas A&M, sneaky game. Again, I've got my eyeballs on that one because if A&M loses out and Cats win out, 2 seed, I'm lying. Tennessee takes on Arkansas 9 p.m. on ESPN2. Wednesday, real quick, LSU, Missouri, Bama and Auburn, a little 7 o'clock action. And then Cats and Vandy again Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Real quick, Tennessee, Arkansas. What are you thinking? Score? What you got?
I think we should win. If we're playing at home, I'm always going to feel confident playing at home.
Yep.
Arkansas is good. I don't think they're great this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they take it to us and give us a game. But having Josiah back, hopefully we have Phillips back. But even if we don't have Phillips, I think Saturday was a total get right game, get our confidence, get our feet back back under us. Let's get into March and play like we can, which is a top 10 level team. So I think Tennessee wins by 8 points.
I like it. I think if they control Nick Smith Jr., dude's been averaging over 20-something points the last couple of games since he came back from injury. I think if you keep him under 20, probably fine. Cats and Vandy, I think they just need it for the sake of continuing to stack dubs, for the sake of at this point, it's for seeding purposes in the NCAA tournament. And just for the sake of, I think if they beat Vandy Wednesday, you secure the 3 seed no matter what, which kind of makes that Arkansas game Saturday more of a prove it, see if you can beat Arkansas because they punctuate your own up and rough. Liam Robbins scares me just because anybody longer or as physical as Oscar gives them fits. But the way that the Cats are playing, I'm going to say it's going to be tight for a while. Towards the end, I'll say Cats end up winning by, I'm going to say they win by 10. It's a little more optimistic than I usually am. And the one game that we love to just let everybody know, hey, Missouri travels to LSU Wednesday night. Who wins?
LSU, easy.
The line's not out yet, but I'm telling you, whatever it is, hammer the over if you are a
LSU
cover plus something, bet the house.
I've never been more confident in a prediction. LSU handles Missouri.
Guys, we just want you to it was a joke about the Georgia thing, but we're dead serious.
Yeah.
LSU.
No messing around here.
All right. Hey, don't forget, submit your dog of the week. We'll talk about that Thursday or whenever we do our next episode. Until then, Big Papa Bobby Hoops. Thanks for tuning in. We out.
See you.